Chapter 3. Kate got off the plane feeling giddy and triumphant. She'd never been on a plane before, but it had been easy as anything. She chewed gum on takeoff and landing, done twists in the tiny bathroom every hour to keep limber, and brushed her hair and straightened her red dress as the plane cruised up to the gate. Perfection. She was very happy. Somehow, once the decision to go was made, Kate's spirits had lifted and lifted. It no longer seemed a grim necessity to come to the Institute. It was the dream Joyce had described, the beginning of a new life. Her dad had been unbelievably sweet and understanding. He'd seen her off just as if she were going to college. Joyce was supposed to meet her here at San Francisco Airport. But the airport was crowded, and there was no sign of Joyce. People streamed by. Kate then stuck close to the gate, head high, trying to look nonchalant. The last thing she wanted was anyone to ask if she needed help. "Excuse me." Kate then flicked a sideways glance at the unfamiliar voice. It wasn't help. It was something even more disturbing. One of those cult people who hang around airports and ask for money. He was wearing reddish robes. Tuscan red, Kate thought, if she were going to draw them. "I'd like a moment of your time, please." The voice was civil, but persistent, authoritative. It sounded foreign. Kate edged away, or started to. A hand caught her. She looked down at it in amazement, seeing lean fingers the colour of caramel locked around her wrist. "Okay, jerk, you asked for it." Outraged, Kate turned the full power of her smoky blue, strangely ringed eyes on him. He just looked back, and when Kate looked deeply into his eyes, she reeled. His skin was that caramel colour, but his eyes were slanting and very dark, with an epicanthic fold. The phrase lynx-eyed came to Caitlin's mind. His softly curling hair was a sort of pale shimmery brown, like silver birch. None of it went together. But that wasn't what made her reel. It was the feeling of age from him. When she looked into his eyes, she had the sense of centuries passing, millennia. His face was unlined, but there were ice ages in his eyes. Kate couldn't remember ever really screaming in her life, but she decided to scream now. She didn't get a chance. The grip on her wrist tightened, and before she could draw a breath, she was jerked off balance, moving. The man in the robes was pulling her backward into the jetway, the long corridor that led to a plane. Except that there was no plane now, and the corridor was empty. The double doors closed, cutting Caitlin off from the rest of the airport. She was still too shocked to scream. "Don't move and you won't get hurt," the man in the robe said grimly. His lynx eyes were hard. Caitlin didn't believe him. He was from some cult, and he was obviously insane, and he dragged her into this deserted place. She should have fought him before. She should have screamed when she had the chance. Now she was trapped. Without letting go of her arm, the man fumbled inside his robes. For a gun or a knife, Caitlin thought. Her heart was pounding violently. If he would just relax his grip on her arm for an instant, if she could get to the other side of those doors where there were people. "Here," the man said. "All I want is for you to look at this." He was holding not a weapon, but a piece of paper. Glossy paper that had been folded. To Caitlin's dazed eyes it looked like a brochure. "I don't believe it," she thought. "He is insane." "Just look," the man said. Caitlin couldn't help looking. He was holding the paper in her face. It seemed to be a full-colour picture of a rose garden, a walled rose garden, with a fountain in the centre, and something thrusting out of the fountain. Maybe an ice sculpture, Caitlin thought dizzily. It was tall, white, and semi-transparent, like a faceted column. In one of its many facets was the tiny, perfect reflection of a rose. Caitlin's heart was still pounding violently. This was all too weird, as frightening as if he were trying to hurt her. "This crystal," the man began, and then Caitlin saw her chance. The iron grip on her arm loosened just the slightest bit as he spoke, and his eyes were on the picture. Caitlin kicked backward, glad that she was wearing pumps with her red dress, slamming a 2-inch heel into his shin. The man yelped and let go. Caitlin hit the double doors with both hands, bursting out into the airport, and then she just ran. She ran without looking behind her to see if the man was following. She dodged around chairs and phone booths, heading blindly into the crowd. She didn't stop until someone called her name. "Caitlin!" It was Joyce, heading the other way, toward the gate. Kate had never been so relieved to see anyone. "I'm so sorry, the traffic was terrible, and parking in this place is always—" She broke off. "Caitlin, what's wrong?" Caitlin collapsed in Joyce's arms. Now that she was safe, she somehow wanted to laugh. Hysteria, probably, she told herself. Her legs were shaking. "It was too strange," she gasped. "There was this guy from some cult or something, and he grabbed me. He probably just wanted money, but I thought—" "He grabbed you? Where is he now?" Caitlin waved a hand vaguely. "Back there. I kicked him and ran." Joyce's aquamarine eyes flashed with grim approval, but all she said was, "Come on, we'd better tell airport security about this." "Oh, I'm okay now. He was just some nut. Nuts like that we put away, even in California," Joyce said flatly. Airport security sent people looking for the man, but he was gone. Besides, the guard told Joyce and Caitlin, he couldn't have opened the doors to the jet bridge. They're kept locked. Caitlin didn't want to argue. She wanted to forget all about it and go to the institute. This was not how she'd planned her grand entrance to California. "Let's go," she said to Joyce, and Joyce sighed and nodded. They picked up Caitlin's luggage and carried it to a sharp little green convertible, Joyce's car. Kate felt like bouncing on the seat as Joyce drove. Back home it was freezing, with 20 inches of snow on the ground. Here they drove with the top down, and Joyce's blonde hair ruffled like down in the wind. "How's the little girl from the crash?" Joyce asked. Caitlin's spirits pitched. "She's still in hospital. They don't know if she'll be okay." Caitlin clamped her lips together to show that she didn't intend to answer any more questions about Lindy. But Joyce didn't ask any more questions. Instead, she said, "2 of your housemates are already at the institute, Lewis and Anna. I think you'll like them. Lewis, a boy." "How many of the 5 of us are boys?" Caitlin asked suspiciously. 3, I'm afraid," Joyce said gravely, and then gave Kate a sideways look of amusement. Caitlin declined to be amused. 3 boys and only 1 other girl. 3 sloppy, meaty-headed, too big to control, hormone-crazed Power Rangers. Caitlin had tried boys once, 2 years ago when she was a sophomore. She'd let one of them take her out, driving up to Lake Erie every Friday and Saturday night, and she'd put up with everything he wanted. Some of what he wanted, while he talked about Metallica and the Browns and the Bengals and his candy apple red Trans Am, all of which Kate knew nothing about. After the first date, she decided that guys must be an alien species and just tried to deal with him without listening to him. She was still hoping that he'd take her to the next party with his crowd. She had it all planned out. He'd escort her into one of those big houses on the hill that she'd never been invited to. She'd wear something a little dowdy so as not to show up the hostess. With her boyfriend's arm around her shoulder, she'd be modest and self-effacing, complimenting everything in sight. The whole crowd would see she wasn't a monster. They'd let her in, maybe not all at once, but over time, as they got used to her being around. Wrong.